Welcome to the Peter Leipold Google Earth Tour. So we'll begin where we normally do with the infamous view, Germany, according to von Boden. We see the skinny red outlined finger that is Baden, the orange of the Pfalz, and the blue outlined Rheinhessen, creating something of the spine, the core of Germany. Franconia, outlined in a sort of teal far to the right of your screen and up at the top, is the eastern extreme. In a way, it seems to mirror and balance the western extreme of the Mosel, which is outlined in a number of different colors on the left side of the screen. Moving in a bit closer, we see just how distant Franconia, which can also be called Franken, is from the core of that Rheinhessen, Rheingau, and Pfalz area. Moving in even closer, we come to the river that defines the region of Franconia, the Main River. Now, if we follow this river far enough east, we come to the heart of Franconia, where the river makes a sort of V shape, with the most famous town, Würzburg, resting on the west side toward the bottom of our V. One might also note Wetter, up there on the left side of the screen, while Weingut is down in the right-hand corner. So anyway, this is where Franconia is, but that leaves the question, what is Franconia? For most Americans, this place remains something of a mystery. If anyone knows anything about Franken, it might be those traditional, rather bulbous bottle shapes of the region, the Bocksbeutel. Yes, these bottles are named after goat scrotums, and no, that's not particularly important. More than this, there are two important things you should know about Franken. First, Riesling is something of a minority here. It is decidedly not the star, and it's nearly always dry when it does appear. In fact, the most important variety here is Sylvaner. Franken is perhaps the spiritual homeland of Sylvaner, though a few Rheinhessen folks, like Karsten Selvester or Klaus-Peter Keller, might have something to say about that idea. Sylvaner is a grape that shapes to me a wine that is not dissimilar to Chardonnay, yet with more structure, more vigor. Many wine writers, myself included, find great Sylvaner on limestone to have something of the clarity in the cut of great Chablis. Now, why Sylvaner is not more famous and more appreciated remains a mystery to me, though the fact that there is as much horrid and flabby Sylvaner as there is taut and mineral Sylvaner means the consumer has a right to be a bit confused. Finally, the second thing to know about Franken is that the wines are famous, brutally dry. Now, analytics can be a confusing business, but if trocken or dry wines in Germany often have 5 to maybe 9 grams of residual sugar, Frankentrocken is its own unofficial category, most often clocking in at below 4 grams and often flirting with almost no grams of residual sugar. Now, as with most German wine regions, there's a lot of history here, and anyone dabbling in the heritage of Franconia has to talk about its most important city, Würzburg, resplendent with Baroque and Rococo castles, and one of the most famous vineyards, sort of, in Germany, the Würzburger Stein. In the 18th and 19th century, so I'm told, Steinwein was the shit. Today, it does not feel like this is the shit. At the very least, neither this city nor this vineyard is at the center of the small grower viticulture that interests us. So today our focus is Peter Leipold, and to find him, we're going to have to travel about 20 to 30 minutes even further east. First, we come to the village of Volkach, which rests near the Main River. But the young Peter Leipold resides in Obervolkach, a tiny hamlet just north of Volkach, though here we are quite a distance from the warming, moderating influence of the river. This slide shows you quite well the general layout not only of Peter's vineyards, there are 2 main hills, one more limestone dominant, the other more sandstone dominant, but also the general feel of this part of Franconia. While there are some steep vineyards, the general openness of the valley and the distance of many of the top sites from the river reminds me, in ways, of the Saar Valley. Go see the Lauer Google Earth Vineyard Tour for reference. It should be mentioned there's one other way the wines of Franconia remind me of the Saar, and that is the incisive, angular quality of the acidity. The acidity, in fact, is the magic of both of these places. But let's take a closer look at what is probably Peter's main site, a limestone hill just north of the small town. Here, Peter farms a number of parcels. While it'd probably be overkill to go through each unique parcel here, the color of the outlines does tell you the variety is planted. The parcels outlined in green, which probably cover the most surface area, are planted to, well, Sylvaner. The westernmost green parcel in the middle section is where the Grand Cru Gasberg is sourced from, for people who know that wine. The red parcels are Pinot Noir, or Spätburgunder in German. The white is Riesling. Chardonnay is outlined in blue, Scheurebe yellow, Müller-Thurgau brown. Bacchus, finally, is outlined in orange. Sliding further east, we come upon the second important vineyard. Now here the soils are more sandstone. This is where the Grand Cru Sylv-Sandstein is sourced from. Finally, an outlier, in the fall of 2022, the estate managed to acquire 0.092 hectares of a nearly 50-year-old Riesling vines in the very famous Eschendorfer Lump. Now, what does 0.092 hectares look like? It looks like 2 rows of vines that plummet down just a few hundred feet at a 75% gradient. Google Earth here does not do the site justice. It is crazy steep. Everything here is done by hand, and Peter takes an obvious joy in working this parcel. The dry Riesling they make from it, well, it is both very rare and very astounding. But go and taste for yourself. The Lump or any of Peter's wines are a testament to the potential, the freshness, the vigor, and terroir of Franconia.